Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Everybody gather in. Welcome to this month's edition of Campus Talk. We appreciate you being here. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and announce the next and final Campus Talk for the semester, and that will be on Friday, November the 15th at 9 a.m. right here in the Student Center Ballroom. As you can see, we've tried to move the dates around. We've done a Tuesday, we've done a Wednesday, this is a Thursday, and so the last one will be on a Friday, and again at 9 a.m. here. This is to do it at different times so that folks who may not be able to go at a certain time on a certain date that we've had them may have the opportunity to attend these in person. If you can't, we've been filming these and putting them on the UCA YouTube channel, so if you, for those that can't but missed out, please tell your colleagues that in a few days we'll have this up on our YouTube channel so you'll be able to see it in person. Just quickly, we're going to have a presentation. What we're going to do today, we're going to have a presentation by Dr. Jonathan Glenn in the Provost's office about the upcoming HLC visit to our campus. After that, we'll hear from the three Senate presidents, and then we'll hear from President Courtway. And with that, I'll turn this over to Dr. Glenn at the Provost's office.
Oh, thanks for inviting me to do this, Jeff. Obviously, this is near and dear to my heart, and I think it is to all of our thoughts and hearts right now as we prepare for this upcoming visit. I want to do very quickly some fairly basic stuff about the HLC, and then I want to talk about what issues we're dealing with during this visit. For those of you who are not familiar with HLC and the idea of regional accreditation and so forth, and even for those of you who started dealing with accreditation way before 2005 when the HLC per se came into existence, the HLC is a commission of the North Central Association of Colleges and Schools. It's the Higher Learning Commission. That is the commission of that organization that accredits post-secondary institutions, educational institutions in 19 different states, including Arkansas. And I just thought I'd show you this map. Blue is the HLC. It's North Central Association. There are 6 of these regional accreditors. The largest one is the HLC. And as you note, here we are. Right there, it's middle, but it's not north, so go figure. The U.S. accreditation system is something that we call voluntary and self-regulating, and that's important because the regional accrediting agencies and even the specialized accrediting associations are membership associations. So we do have an impact on the HLC, just as they clearly have an impact on us. The U.S. Department of Education has a use for the regional accreditors as well, and that is as the sort of middle person or middle organization between the Department of Education and the institution. So, for example, every comprehensive evaluation from one of the regional accreditors involves a section called federal compliance, and there's just a very long list that we document our compliance with federal regulations. Just briefly, why this matters. It's first of all about quality assurance to the general public, to potential students, to the parents of potential students. The accrediting agencies provide information, provide databases of institutions and so on that meet the baseline quality standards determined by the association. Accreditation also assures the credibility of our academic credits when they're transferred to other institutions, We also look for accreditation in regard to credits that come in, and it assures the credibility of the degrees that we award and that our students take out into the world. Accreditation is also a prerequisite for participation in federal programs, including Title IV, federal financial aid. That's a very big deal in almost every higher education institution. And in our case, I know that Cheryl, who is probably downstairs in costume right now, would be able to tell us that her office is sort of the focal point of our work in that regard. Were we not to be accredited, then we would not be able to participate in any federal programs for financial aid or otherwise. Our last comprehensive visit with the Higher Learning Commission took place in the spring of 2010, and at that time, some concerns were expressed and we were given an assignment. That assignment consists of two parts. One part we have finished, the monitoring report, which was to be a comprehensive long-range plan ready for implementation, a report on that. It was submitted in May 2012, and it was accepted by the HLC. The second part of our assignment is what I like to call our oral exam. That is, a team is going to come to campus in about a week, a little more than that, to verify that what we said we were going to do, we have indeed done. And the language in the assignment is a comprehensive long-range plan fully established. That, as we keep reminding you, is happening November 11 and 12, so not far away. And we have added to that visit an additional element unrelated to the 2010 assignment. That is, we have made application for a substantive change in our authorization by the Higher Learning Commission so that we can offer the Doctor of Nursing Practice program as that profession moves to doctoral level training. So a closer look at this part of the assignment. The focus visit team, and this bears reading, will expect to see the comprehensive long-range plan fully established. As all good assignments do, this one tells us what's going to make it successful. Successful results of the implemented plan will include a budgeting process that reflects allocations based on strategic priorities, which in turn advance diversity, governance, communication, assessment of student learning, and assessment of institutional effectiveness. So as I look at that assignment, I like to turn it into something that is a little more visual for me, and I'm going to try to follow the instructions up here, which are, please speak loudly and clearly. The focus is on strategic planning. You've got to know that. The focus is on strategic planning. And that focus starts by asking us, are we in fact putting our money where our mission is, right? Our strategic priorities, is that what we're in fact doing? All these other elements are understood by the assignment to be things that need attention in our strategic plan. And ultimately, when we're done, what's supposed to come out of that is effectiveness as an institution. I've gotten way ahead of myself here. So let's take that same mind map and add some things to it. So strategic planning is one thing, but this assignment asks us to go beyond that. And when we think about planning, we know that we must be planning for something. And so partly that's about our thinking, partly that's the attitude about with which we go about what we do in our work at the university. ultimately that's actions that we take. I've got my little arrows circling there to remind us that, in fact, we must think of this as something that continually acts recursively. We call it recursive flow, right? We keep going back and doing and back and doing and back and doing, and we proceed forward at that point. I've asked Steve Runge to talk just very briefly about, in fact, what we've done in terms of action.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think you've given me the impossible assignment of speaking very briefly. The president always reminds me, what is it, 2 minutes? No. All right, so as Dr. Glenn has pointed out, strategic planning is only one part of the process. We can have all the best plans in the world, but if we don't implement those plans and take the appropriate actions to make sure that improvement in the institution happens, then we haven't gone very far. So I've got a list of things, and this is not comprehensive, of the actions that we've taken institutionally to put the structures in place to make sure that we are building a culture of continuous improvement and a culture that will set this institution apart from other institutions like us in the region and in the country. So I'm going to go through some of these things and recognizing, I'll mention a few names, but there's been many, many, many people involved in developing these plans, implementing these plans, taking action, making things happen. So the first of which, if you think about strategic planning, is that we have developed the Strategic Planning and Resource Council, which is SPARC, which coordinates the activities of both the Strategic Budget Advisory Committee and the Strategic Planning Committee. Both of those groups put together plans for the campus in terms of continuous improvement. They couple the strategic plan with the allocation of new funding from the institution. SPARC, they report up to SPARC, which is ably chaired by Dr. Nancy Reese. Well, I think you're about halfway through your appointment, not that you're counting the days or anything, but, and then that group, SPARC, reports to the president. President confers with executive staff. Decisions are made about strategic priorities, budget allocations, and things that will help move the campus forward. We also have developed assessment plans for nearly every academic program on campus. So these assessment plans are based on a continuous improvement model where the student learning outcomes are measured, and we close the loop and continuously on a regular basis work to improve the program so that it is better every year, every time we deliver that program. So beyond that, what we've done is, and this is led by Dr. Lucas Castro out of our office, is we are developing assessment plans for all of the non-academic units as well. So everything from the physical plant to athletics to the police department, across campus, we are establishing a culture of continuous improvement. And it's something that we all must do. It's something that we all must buy into because we have to be a part of it, every person on campus. More specific things that we've done, as everybody in the Academic Affairs Division knows, we redesigned our general education program last year. We went from a UCA general education program to a UCA core. One of the big things about that change was that we now have a program which is accessible. The Higher Learning Commission told us in 1990, in 2000, in 2010, that we must have a general education program where we can assess what the students are learning. We now have that. Dr. Kastner-Post is our new UCA core director, and she is working hard every day to make sure that that becomes a reality for our campus. Financial health of the university has been much improved. That was a separate component from the monitoring report and the focus visit report. We submitted a report in December of 2012, which was accepted by the HLC. Many, many people, President Courtway has been intimately involved for many years in this, making sure that we were on the road to financial recovery and that we stay there. Diversity is one of the topics which was specifically mentioned. We've established a diversity advisory committee. They've made recommendations to the president. The president has put structures in place. We now have a chief diversity officer, Mr. Ronnie Williams, in the back, and he is working daily to implement the structures and actions to make sure that we address, institutional diversity in a very, very proactive way. Key performance indicators for the university. These are the things that we measure ourselves with and that other people measure against to make sure that we are an effective institution. So all of these components feed into institutional effectiveness. You've seen a number of organizational charts come out for all the different divisions in the president's office related to reporting lines. It was one of the criticisms that we had received, that we did not have clear reporting lines. We now have clear reporting lines. People know what the organizational structure is, and we, as a campus, I believe, feel pretty strongly that we are much more efficient in terms of how we're organized. Lots of other smaller examples, but one thing that's really important is AVID, academic vitality, integrity, and diversity. And we are working as a campus to make sure that not only can people repeat that abbreviated mission, but that we understand it and that we live it. That's part of establishing this culture of continuous improvement. So lots of other things. I'm not going to go into all of these examples. A big part of this is related to enrollment. We've been able to increase enrollment. Our freshman class is up for 3 years in a row. We've done that without lowering our standards. Not all of the schools in Arkansas have been able to increase the size of their freshman class. The University of Central Arkansas has done that, and we are putting in every effort to make sure that we stay on that path. The other part of it is not only getting them in the door, but making sure that they stay here and that they graduate. We've now established an Office of Student Success, which is the focal point of the retention efforts for the campus. The Office of Student Success is headed up by Dr. Julie Winden-Fay and reports to Dr. Jonathan Glenn. Many, many activities related to student success are ongoing, from help for students that are in transitional coursework, help for students that are in traditionally challenging courses in the freshman year, summer bridge programs, many, many activities that we are undertaking. Importantly, also, we're making sure we take care of our employees, and we worked very hard this last year to provide cost of living adjustments for faculty and staff. We provided equity adjustments for the faculty, and we are continuing those discussions to try to make sure that we can take care of the people that work here and work every day and work very hard every day to make this the excellent place that it is to be. So ultimately, it's about institutional effectiveness. And I just wanted to give you a few examples, and I said this is not comprehensive, that not only are we planning, but we are taking action, and everybody's involved. And I want to thank everybody that's participating in these activities from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do, because I know it's a lot of work, and you're doing a great job. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. For those who are squirming, President Courtway, we're only going to have one more. We're only going to have one more slide here. I've also been told the virtues of brevity several times, so I try to. There you go. Okay, so very quickly, on Monday the 11th. We will have the team here on campus start out in the morning, be here all day long. They actually arrive in Central Arkansas on Sunday. They'll start working together. They do not live in the same place. They're all over the country. They'll start working together Sunday night, and then Monday morning they'll be here on campus. The members of the team are veteran consultant evaluators for the Higher Learning Commission, and they're also veteran higher education folks, experts, and we're very lucky to have them. Dr. Kathy Gilbert from New Mexico is the chair of that team. Thomas Zonleitner from Wisconsin Oshkosh is here, and added to the team in order to review the DNP, Dr. Lois Halstead from Rush University in Chicago. From our campus, potentially everyone is involved. There will be an itinerary that ultimately gets made by the chair of the visiting team with designated groups and people whom they wish to meet with. But anyone on campus or in any building might in fact be stopped and asked, do you know, did you know that an HLC team was going to be on campus? We like the response to that to be yes. We prefer that it not be, well, what the heck is HLC? We think that if we're asked what our mission is, it would be good to know, at least to be able to say that we carry out our mission with academic vitality, integrity, and diversity. In any case, I'm not going to know the itinerary for the day until the 4th. So next Monday, I should get a list of that. Suzanne Massey in our office and I are going to then be setting up meetings just as busily as we can. And presumably it will go swimmingly. These visitors will be asking us questions related to the assignment that we have. They're going to have a tremendous amount to do in a relatively short period of time, so they're not going to be able to talk in a leisurely way with any individual group or person. You're likely to find, as you're talking to them, that they will move you along with careful and intentional questions to ensure that they can find out what they need to know and in fact verify that we have this strategic plan fully established. On Tuesday, we'll have about a half day with the visiting team, and that half day will be basically the wrap-up time. So the team meets together in the morning first thing and make sure that they have arrived at consensus about their findings, about their own assignment, which is to validate our claims. They'll meet with the president to go over what their findings are and what they will say at the exit interview. That will be followed by an exit interview with more people involved. And again, I don't know where or exactly who that's going to be at this point. And then the team will leave. After the visit, we will receive a draft report fairly quickly. And we'll be given an opportunity to correct errors of fact. We're not given an opportunity to enter into debate with the team in any way at that point. Once those things once any errors of fact are cleared up, the team will create a final report and submit that to the HLC. Ultimately, that will be acted on by the Commission's Institutional Actions Committee and by the board of the Higher Learning Commission, and final action will be reported out, and then we'll know. I don't exactly know the schedule on which those meetings happens, but it feels longer than it is, I assure you. Our next comprehensive visit will be happening in 2016 and 17, and that's related to what we're doing right now. If, in fact, we continue to progress and to perform well in the areas that are being monitored, that comprehensive visit will verify that and mark the end of our status as under monitoring for those particular things. Very quickly, I want to show you where you can find as much information as we have provided to anybody, to the team and to the Commission. So you all know about my UCA, and we're going to just do this so that we can see what we're up to. When you get into My UCA, what you see is these tabs across the top. To find out HLC information, you want to go to the Resources tab, the right-hand side, go down to the third channel, unless you've moved it, and you'll see that there are a number of resources available to you here. They're historical as well as immediate, and this, it's all connected. All right? So the comprehensive visit, including our self-study and the team report. The monitoring report, including the report itself, and the HLC action letter. And then finally, the focused visit materials, including the report and something that I'm working on currently, the electronic resource room, which the team actually accesses differently than this, but it's available to the campus in this channel, and it has linked to it everything we submitted to the HLC, some historical documents related to the background of the visit, and then a lot of Spark documents, a lot of financial documents, a bunch of diversity documents, a lot of assessment things, ultimately some nursing documents for that part of the visit. I show this to you simply to remind you that you can look. We encourage you to look as much as you can. If you only have time to look at one thing, I'd pull the report itself down, the focus visit report, look at the introduction. There's an outline of the report with a little paragraph about each chapter, and then you can dip into the other materials as your whimsy or interests take you. Here concludeth the lesson.
Okay, and with that, we'll turn it over to our three Senate presidents and our president of our Student Government Association, Adam Price.
All right, good afternoon and happy Halloween. The SGA Diversity Committee is currently being formed, and applications are out for at least 5 non-SGA students to serve on the committee and hear out any concerns that students have about underrepresented populations on campus. So those applications are on OrgSync under the SGA portal. So if you're a student, you're interested in that, just go fill out an application, and then hearings will be the following day. They're due on November 5th at 4 o'clock, and the hearings will be the following day on November 6th. Our staff process hearings are currently being held for the RSOs. We had over 70 applications and over $230,000 requested. Surprisingly, the number of organizations that applied didn't decrease, but the amount of funding requested did. But I believe that actually is just indicative of smarter budgeting and doing more planning on the front end. So hopefully that's what that is. We currently have 5 goal committees that we set at the beginning of the year, and the 5 goal committees are pretty self-explanatory, but I'll highlight a few of the things that they are currently planning on doing. The first one is safety and campus utilization, and 2 of their bigger goals are more handicap accessibility on campus, and then a centralized system for reserving and scheduling space on campus. The next one is traditions, and then the third one is student services. The fourth one is housing and food services, and then the fifth one is Senate advancement. And Senate advancement is a new concept that we had this year, and it mostly is focusing on internal on SGA and making sure that we can do things better and making improvements to our Constitution, and then looking at maybe do we want to do elections so that they're more representative of the student body in the way SGA is structured. So, and then the last thing that I want to talk about is Speak Up applications. I know I spoke about it the last campus talk, which is it's based off a project in 2010 where we have $50,000 and we're looking to allocate those funds across campus to students that submit an application that has a tangible benefit, and they can identify something that has a tangible benefit to the students. And those applications are going to be going out on November 4th, so we encourage any student, faculty, staff, or any person out of the UCA community to submit their idea and not be discouraged or maybe about where the funding's coming from. So that's all I have, and is there any questions? Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lindsay Osborne, the current Staff Senate President, and just a couple of updates from Staff Senate. Of course, we're always looking for volunteers for football and basketball. We have 2 home games for football left, as Dr. Teague knows. Our last home football game, we're still looking for volunteers, and basketball season starts up on the 8th of November, so looking for volunteers for basketball as well. A new committee that Staff Senate is they finalized at our meeting yesterday and are currently working on some kinks, is a Staff Senate Emergency Fund Committee. And the funds, we have a foundation, account at the foundation, and the funds will be requested by staff members for any emergencies like natural disaster emergencies, loss of family member, any sort of health emergencies that come up, to help our staff members in those times of need as they're trying to get their situation figured out and back on their feet. So that committee is currently being established, and I'm really happy to have that. We'll be making those updates on our website in the next few weeks and finalizing that committee. The Front and Center Staff Recognition Campaign is a new initiative of Staff Senate this year. We had our first event on Tuesday evening, and basically it's an event where we randomly invite 20 staff members to attend a lunch or a dinner, depending on the event for that time. We're doing 5 events this academic year, and the goal of the events is to get our staff members connected to other staff members on campus, connected to Staff Senate, and also to really emphasize the mission of Staff Senate to represent, serve, and recognize. So we hope if any staff members here are going to invite in the future that you'll be happy to attend. And yes, so we're looking forward to the rest of those events this year. We have another one coming up on November the 22nd. And hopefully you will get an invite, right? Yes, everybody wants to come to lunch. Some of the other things that we are looking forward to in November and December are Angel Bear Tree Committee applications that are currently out right now. So if you know any staff or UC employees that have any need, then definitely encourage them to apply for Angel Bear funding. And those applications are due November 8th. They're available in the library and also online. And then Winter Feast is December 4th, so make sure that's on your calendar. And there will be a campus announcement about the event next week, and also the contest for this year. Every year we've been doing a different contest, and the contest will be revealed next week as well. So we're excited about that, and we hope you'll attend. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. Charles Watson, President of the Faculty Senate. In the festivities of Halloween, I usually don't play the game, but my wife insisted today that I come in a costume. So whether you can't tell her or not, I'm an eggplant with a bear wraparound. Okay. The Faculty Senate, in our last meeting, adopted a proposal to ultimately recommend amendment to Policy 525, which is a statement of the diversity on campus. The other senates will be considering that or a similar version, and hopefully before the end of this academic year, we'll be able to make a recommendation to the board for an amendment to Policy 525. One of the things that has been a nemesis of the Faculty Senate this year has been putting the committee of committees together and trying to staff all of the 50-plus committees that we have on campus. We think that we're pretty much done with that now, but if you're looking for who's on a particular committee that you're interested with, those have all been posted on the Faculty Senate website under committees, so you can go there and look for that. One of the things that you'll be interested in knowing, perhaps, is that the Committee on Committees is looking to find committees that have not been functioning over the last 2 or 3 years. If there are those committees out there, then they may be recommended for this closure or to not have that committee anymore. That's not just our responsibility. That ultimately is a handbook decision, but a recommendation will be coming from the Senate regarding some of those committees that are not functioning or not being worked with. The Senate is trying to continue to work through the comments that we received back at the beginning of semester when the faculty Senate members met with college representatives in each of the colleges and came up with a list of questions or concerns. We're continuing to check those off, and we'll be meeting with those groups and administrators that are responsible for those areas through the middle of January. There are also the 3 standing committees of the Senate that have been challenged to look at some of those issues. So if you haven't heard anything about the issues, they are on the drawing board, and there will be reports coming back. So contact your senators if you are not seeing responses to those things. So at that point, I'll stop and see if there are any questions. Thank you.
See where I put it? Yeah, thank you. That's okay. Before President Courtway comes up to give his remarks, we did receive one question submitted electronically, and you can do that on our webpage. UCA Answers is where you go. You can just type in answers in our search engine, and it'll take you to this where you can submit a question and not in person if you so choose. This is the question, the one that we got this week for Campus Talk. And it is basically, and I'll try to summarize it a little bit here, there are a few buildings on campus that are having issues with internet and cable wiring. Will the Prince Center internet connection ever be addressed? There are faculty in this building having issues with fast connection to the internet. Due to this fact of slow connection, advising sessions are lasting longer and general work to be uploaded takes more time. And so wanted us to address that. And so I think I'll turn it over to Provost Runge to answer that question. Here's some of the notes right there.
So 2 answers, yes and yes. Right? Yes, there are buildings on campus that have older cabling that causes the internet connection to be slower. Are we addressing those? Yes, we are. The last one that we addressed was the library, which still had the old cabling. The problem is not related to the connection of the building to the internet, but it's the internal wiring in the buildings. So as we go through the process of evaluating the internet connectivity on campus, once we get our Chief Technology Officer in place, we'll develop that plan more fully, and we will be addressing those connection issues. So we are working on it.
All right, thanks. Anybody have any questions before I start what I'm going to say? Real quickly, I want to introduce 2 people here today that some of you may not have had an opportunity to see or get to know. First, Candy Hughes. Where is Candy? She wouldn't sit up in front with me. Stand up. Okay, stand up. And turn around so everybody can see you. Candy is the new Associate General Counsel and Compliance Officer for the university. She joined us from the city of Little Rock. She was Assistant City Attorney. She went to Duke Undergraduate School and got her law degree at Bowen School of Law in Little Rock, and she started on the 21st of October, so she's been here a little over a week. So glad to have you here. Now you can sit down. Turn around. Thank you. And Warren. Next is Warren Riedenauer. He's now the new General Counsel. He started Monday. So today is Thursday. He's been on the job 4 days. Warren is a native of Conway. His father was on the faculty here for many, many years in the history department. Warren will probably embarrass me to say this, but I understand he was the top graduate in his class at this university, and with a double major in mathematics and history, probably, right? Yes, sir. Then went to Vanderbilt Law School, and for the last 17 years has been with the Attorney General of the state of Arkansas. and represented many, many boards and commissions of the state, including University of Central Arkansas a time or two, or more times than he probably will care to admit. And so we're glad that he's here, and thank you, and you can sit down too now. So he wouldn't sit with me either. It's pretty sad when neither of your lawyers will sit near you, but that's okay. I'm used to it. Just a couple other things very quickly. If anyone doesn't think that the focus visit of the Higher Learning Commission is not important, then you need to think again, because of the work that particularly Dr. Glenn, Dr. Runge, Dr. Hattelstad, Dr. Lee, and many, many other people, Dr. Reese, and everybody that was on the committee, and I can't call Diane, has worked on the financial aspect of it and her staff for years. But it's all of us, and we all have to know what's at stake. We all have to know how important it is. I'm at the 40,000 foot level on some of this stuff, but it's critical. And so the work that they've done and the documents that they put together and the albeit longer explanation than maybe, and I wasn't over here squirming, but it is critical. It is critical, and I think it's well done. Everything's well done, and the board of trustees will have lunch with the Higher Learning Commission focused team next Monday in the private dining room, just the board and just the team members themselves. Now, I will not be present, and I know that the three members that are here are going to see a board that's united, that it's involved. They're all going to be here and cares deeply about the future of this institution. So I'm very encouraged about that. The final thing I'll say is this sort of the humdrum part of things. We bought an additional piece of property in the last month. We bought the so-called Hammett property on Donaghy. For a while there was a sign in the yard. We purchased that. We also purchased a house at 100 Elizabeth, which is the house up Robbins Street. If you've seen 22 trucks when you drive by with everything from Free-Aldenhoven to White Cabling to UCA Physical Plant to Barnum and Bailey Circus. I don't know what's going on over there, but there's a lot of work going on. We purchased that house, and so we got that going. And the Hammett property was critical for the development of the Great Village project, and that is in the planning stage, and we feel good about where that is headed. I think we've had thus far a very good semester. That's really all I have. I mean, I don't want to get into. We have a board meeting on December the 13th, and there may be a special one trying to clear exactly some time. But we have to do some things on Great Village next week. I think I've about got a date and time clear. There's one. I think we may have a telephone conference meeting next week to go ahead and adopt a bond resolution and some other matters associated with Great Village. That's really all I have. Is there anything I left out? Anything anybody wants to ask me? I'll be glad to is anybody I failed to introduce? Go trick-or-treating tonight or whatever you do on Halloween. I'm going to the Tuba Fest, Oktoberfest. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I want to hear it. So any last call. Anybody? Okay, then let's remember, and you don't necessarily have to say AVID, but know what it stands for. When the HLC team comes, we've got a strategic plan. We've got a campus that stands for academic vitality, integrity, and diversity, and let's show a united front to these men and women that are here to check us out. Because I venture to say this, there have probably been other institutions that have done a good job when they've been sort of under the gun, so to speak, but I will venture to say that I would put us and our responses and our work product up against any institution in the country for what we have done and what you have done in the last 24 months. And I'm exceedingly proud of that. And you're to be congratulated, every one of you. That's all. Yeah, Dr. Halstead?
One of the things I hope folks will do as soon as Dr. Glenn gets the list, they likely will have a meeting with a group of faculty. They likely will meet with a group of staff, with a group of students. When you see that announcement come out, please make an effort to attend. there's nothing that is more frustrating for team members if instead of a couple hundred faculty, you get 10. So when you see that, I realize there are other things on your agenda, but if you see that there's a meeting for students, please encourage your fellow students to go.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important. What Dean Hattlestad just said. I mean, you know, we need to show up and drop what you're doing, and I'll give you a blanket excuse if you need to do that. But I mean, it is. I mean, you know, more than anything, it shows you care. It shows you care about what's going on. It shows you care about the institution, and you know, apathy doesn't look good. So even if you have to swallow hard and you'd rather go sit under a tree for 30 minutes, show up and do your best, and I know you will. All right, anything else? Okay. We'll do one more, and then I think that's going to be the last one for the semester, right? And we hope, and I'm telling you, there's going to be a new floor in the Student Center what is it called, food court, dining area over the Christmas holiday break. It's going to have a bear head in the middle of it, and it better be there by the time we start back to school. We want a new floor in that thing. All right, thank you.